Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. It's a packed episode today, not one but two guests. My first guest is none other than my somewhat friend, Aaron Butler. Me and Aaron are chatting about stand-up, sort of coming back, what's happening with stand-up. We're chatting about his family being the West Belfast mafia and a hell of a lot more in between, including my very strange, very historic upbringing. My second guest is Cahir O'Doherty, who was in the band Fighting with Wire. You may have heard of, is now in the band New Pagans. Cahir and I and loads of people in the arts industry at the minute are throwing our weight behind a group called We Make Events, who are basically asking the government for more support for the arts industry and trying to find out the answers to questions that we're just not getting at the minute. So Cahir and I have sort of an in-depth chat about, and it's a short interview at the end of the podcast, but we have a chat about the reality for the likes of musicians at the minute and people who just aren't getting any work and aren't finding out when or why they're not really allowed to work. So we had a good chat about that, and it shows the reality of people's situations at this really tough time. But the majority of the podcast is going to be me and Aaron talking complete shit, and then it gets a little bit serious at the end. But Cahir was a real gentleman. I think you'll also enjoy that chat. Here we go, on with the pod. Before we do, let me plug the Patreon, which is patreon.com/teawithmepodcast, where you get the bonus episode with me and Britney Spears' dad. There is my stand-up special from last year, and there is the live episode we do monthly, and the new one is going to be in 2 weeks' time on a Sunday night. Cheers, sippers. See you on the other side. A couple of things right off the bat. Number one, why are you wearing a Boohoo Man jumper, and is that a sweatband?
What do you mean a sweatband? Where?
See, you're doing a magic trick here, because I saw if you just tilt, if you stand up,
No.
if you stand up, why have you got a Boohoo Man jumper? Oh no! What?
It's the way the jumper's designed. So here's the thing, Shane. Right?
Why have you bought this?
No, I haven't just bought this. Okay, brother. Hey. It's a full thing. It's a full thing. And hey, bro, look, it's got the same sort of design there. It's a full. And here's why, Shane. I've did this. Okay, I'm going to explain to you. I've did this because I'm in my house, and this is the way I go about my house in a one-piece Boohoo Man tracksuit.
No, right. Here's the thing. Number one, that is the sort of tracksuit that P. Diddy would have worn in 2003, and secondly, you look. You look like you're going nights. Like you look like you're in your jammies and you're about to hit the hay. Why are you 7 years old? Also, I said, what time do you want to do the podcast at? And you said, anytime until 4:30, because that's when my dinner is. Like, that is so young to have a set dinner time when you're not going out for a meal, when you're like, I'm sorry, but dinner is 4:30. And also, who the fuck has dinner at 4:30? Is that going to be your last meal of the day?
No. I'll probably have something to eat in the evening as well, just to tide me over. Look,
what you're going to call what, supper?
That's probably just going to be, maybe it's a snack. I don't know. Maybe it's a little smoothie. I don't know yet. I haven't really decided. Maybe it's just a bit of soup or a sandwich or something. Who knows? The deal is, shout out to Boohoo Man for the sponsor. Big shout out.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't sponsor you.
Yeah.
They charged you double. In fact, they may well have gifted you that, because that was clearly a concept piece that their designers put in the bin of no.
No, it's part of their Burn the Big Blue House range. I'm very happy to be a part of it, and it's gone along well. First of all, that's the first thing. Second thing, dinner is at 4:30 today. The reason why, look, I don't dictate when my dinners are had, and I'm 31, okay? I don't make those sort of decisions. I'm not allowed, okay? I'm still not there yet. My mother says to me, Aaron, I'm putting the dinner at 4:30 today because I have to go shopping for more dinners for you at 5, and I'm like, okay, I'll eat the dinner at 4:30 then. Now, here's the next thing. You're getting into me. What are you wearing? You look like you're a dad, right? And you look like you're gonna sell ice cream in the back of a van, and it's not a legal van either. It's one that you've painted yourself, and you're in a football top from I don't know what year, but it's a bygone era for sure.
Right. Well, let me come back at you with a couple of things.
Okay. Yeah.
One is, why are you the only guy that shops at Boohoo, bar the cast of Geordie Shore? They're the only people who buy clothes.
And I told you, I don't shop there either. Sponsor.
Okay. Secondly,
yeah.
Yes, I do look like the guy who would sell. I look like an ice cream man's helper, if that makes sense. And yes, he would have like cartoons painted on the side of the ice cream van, but there would be like knockoff versions of the cartoon. Like it wouldn't be right.
Yeah, like Daffy Duck, but it's like just silly duck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And he's like blue, and you also have you,
Decky Duck, he's got a fag on the
yeah.
side of it.
You
Anyway,
also you
why do I smoke like a chambermaid in Downton Abbey?
yeah, you're doing that. You also have the vibe of like a guy that comes into schools to run the tuck shop. No, like he's not like he doesn't work for the school, but he comes in just at lunchtime. He comes in just to oversee, and people steal from it, and he doesn't know. He's like, well, why have I only got 6 bottles of Vizzy? I had 4. I packed 4. You know what I mean? Something like that. You've got, but I like it. Look, I like it.
You know, hiking up the price of Snickers. There was a guy that used to come into our school to run our tuck shop, and genuinely one day he just fell. Like he wasn't an old man, but he just like fell and wrecked himself. But like he didn't slip. He fell and hurt himself, and the place was raided. Like when he was on the ground, people were it was like looting during like the Hurricane Katrina on a far smaller scale. It was just 14-year-olds stealing McCoys, but still,
Yeah, yeah.
they
Dim
took everything.
dabs. Yeah. Just the loot. I mean, what do you expect from a bunch of young rambunctious lads? You know.
So this was the first. There's obviously a newer version of it. This is the first football shirt I ever had that wasn't a Man United one. I got this Barcelona kit whenever I was in Mallorca on holiday, whenever I was about 5. And I still remember taking it out of the box to put it on.
And is that the exact same one? Still fits?
It's the same one, still fits. I mean, that's why it was so cheap, because it was in the kids section. But it's also a medium man's. No, I got this new version of it, and like you say, sometimes you just have home clothes and then you have outside clothes. And when you're at
This is it.
home, you wear what you wear. We were trying to figure out just for this podcast how many times since lockdown I've worn jeans, and the answer is 4 times.
And probably at the same amount.
I just wear shorts every day.
Shorts are good, or just like slack bottoms, or just tracksuit bottoms, or something along. Like, yeah, it's been a very cozy year, we could say.
Yeah, that's such a cute way of putting it. Imagine Boris comes on the briefing. Listen, you're going to need to stay cozy for the rest of the year. Hey man, we're not making any money. We're all dying. Listen, wrap a duvet around you. You'll be all right. Well, because you're not letting me do my job. You're not letting me do my job.
Yeah, if I was in power, that's why you gotta spin it. You know what I mean? That's why you gotta get in the room, throw a few ideas. You know what I mean? Are people, are they dying? Are they ill? Or are they just cozy?
What do you make of new guidelines? Because you said you won't stick to them. Is that right?
Oh, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Here's the thing about it.
Oh, no.
Like, what are the new guidelines again? Remind me, because it changes so often.
I think you're just not allowed to mix in your garden with people of a different religion. Yeah.
I
think they're trying to take us back to the Troubles. I think they're trying to take us back.
yeah. Good.
I think they're starting to pop. No, you're basically not allowed to. You're not allowed to meet anyone unless it's in a pub.
And who's going to stick to this?
Alcoholics, mainly.
Alcoholics.
I need to speak to you again.
So I don't know what to make of it anymore.
So you're still allowed to work. You're encouraged to go out and work. You're encouraged
from home.
To go to the pub. No, you can go to work if you need to go to work. So
office.
Whatever your work environment is, you can still play sport. So we can still go out. We could do sketches. We can do whatever. But apparently the danger is whenever you're in a house with someone. Like if you came round to my house, they say that's when you let your guard down, because that's when you're more likely to get infected. Or is it whenever you go to the pub with 75 mates and you're all getting each other in headlocks and swapping to the bar for great banter? They obviously can't afford to like close the economy, so they're like, no, listen, pubs and all, you don't get COVID. You can't get COVID in a bar because
Yeah.
the COVID doesn't have an ID, so
Mhm.
it won't be allowed in. I mean, it's just madness. Like, it's just madness.
Yeah, and like you kind of it's you sort of see it from both sides. Like the government have a job to do, and they're just like trying to do their bit, but at the same time, the people as well are also like, it's just it's so confusing, and it's like, what do we do? Here's my thing is, look, wash your hands, wear a mask when you're in public places, and hope for the best for everything else. Just be cautious.
Yeah, and that will be valuable to people because you're a 31-year-old guy in a blue Boohoo Man sweatpants suit, so that will be key for a lot of people.
Whatever I'm saying. Did you see, by the way, the meme of the guy who stepped in on the during the live TV thing when Arlene and Michelle were talking? No, did you not see this?
No, can you send me it?
Yeah, I think I can through. Hold on, give me a second. But basically, I'll give you a rundown of it. I think I can send you through like Twitter direct message because that's where it's on. Basically, this guy is it's so Northern Ireland, by the way. This thing, basically, yeah, I've got it here.
Was this yesterday?
It was like 2 days ago. Send via direct message. So what happened was Arlene and Michelle were doing that sort of thing where they talk to the flipping Northern Ireland or whatever.
Yeah.
They were doing that thing where they speak to the people or whatever, and the tech guy accidentally creeped into the frame of the video. But the tech guy is wearing a purple Star Wars t-shirt, and he has a wee remote in his hand, and he's giving. But here's the best thing: is I know the actual tech guy. He's called Johnny. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Hold it up to the screen. Just hold it up to the screen here. If anyone's watching the video,
I've sent it. So I have, but I'll see if I can hold it up to the screenplay at the same time. Oh yeah. Here we go. So here we go. So just watch, and. There he is, just ever so subtle.
I like the way you said he was wearing a purple Star Wars t-shirt. Hey, he's a tech guy. I would have already presumed he was wearing a purple Star Wars t-shirt.
Oh, but I thoroughly enjoy that. Nations around the world, everything's sort of taken care of. We just have a little guy at the side, just being like.
When you said so, the Northern Irish, I was like, yeah, no, he's going to beat in the pasty supper with his t-shirt off. It's going to be like, nice spilled vinegar with
it. Yeah, but I enjoyed that now.
Speaking of vinegar, I had a bad ordeal yesterday at the chippy.
Oh no!
Now our oven's broke because it's not letting out heat. So I ordered an element off Amazon, and I said, "Don't worry, I will fix this with a YouTube tutorial." And I haven't tried it yet, but I am actually gonna go and try it. So we haven't been using our oven for a couple of days. So last night I said, listen, I'm going to the chippy to get my dinner, even though it's a Wednesday. That's not me. Like, I'm a Saturday takeaway guy, but I went for it. I phoned up. I asked for a fish supper. I got a fish with, if you just ordered a fish, you would get like a hand.
You don't do the batter.
No. I mean, yeah, but that this is a separate issue.
Sorry.
No worries. Say you ordered it. You should apologise for calling it Northern Ireland. It's the north of Ireland. You're cancelled.
Okay.
If you no, I'm joking. It's the island of Ireland. But if you get a burger and you just order a burger, they would throw in about 12 chips.
Yes.
It's just like it's a lovely gesture. It's basically
bonus.
It's a wee bonus. Or a pasty. If you get a pasty, they'll fire in a couple of chips. I ordered a fish supper. I got a fish, perfectly cooked, beautiful fish.
Right.
I got about 14 chips with it.
Now,
they were clearly not in there as a separate. A fish supper is fish and chips.
Yes.
A pasty supper is a pasty and an equal portion of chips. So was it my fault for not saying, can I get a fish with chips or fish and chips?
Well, if you ask for a fish supper, that has chips in it, surely.
Yep, exactly. That's what I thought.
And it should be like a lot more than 14 chips. Like I'd expect maybe like 34, 35, like something in that chip. At least that much. There could be a bit more. And I think I think they've did you dirty.
Well, I've been to this place many times and always had a brilliant experience, and the portion sizes are really good. So I'm looking at it going, do I go? Like, because it's a big thing living in this part of the world, living on the island of Orlando, to go to a different chip. Because once you find a chippy, that's the chippy you go to, and you build memories, you build relationships, you build bridges. But now I'm sort of thinking, do you have to take my business elsewhere?
I think you have to chalk it up as, you know what, this is maybe a one-off rare occurrence. You know, we all have off days in our workplaces. Maybe there's a new kid that started and he just doesn't quite know the procedures. He's got your order and there's sort of, and it's just went a wee bit haywire. And look, I'd say do it again. And if it happens again, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me, or shame on you.
Fool me twice.
You can't eat chips, yep.
So I've never in my life sent food back. Have you? You don't strike me as someone who would send food back either.
I don't think I personally have, but I've been out with like in a family meal, and I've had like one or two instances where the whole families went, "Hey, this isn't happening," and we've sent. From what I remember, in this place, the food was just really bad, and that was it. It was just really bad.
Why are the Butlers getting on the Gambino crime family in New York in the 70s? Like, why are the Butlers as a collective group going, it's no good? I sent it back.
Yeah, we go out to like Italian restaurants around West Belfast as a family. Yeah. We in Goodfellas. We know where our name is really. But yeah, it was only one time it's ever happened, I think, in memory. And
what are you expecting to get back? Are you expecting the chef's going to rediscover a passion for cooking? Because what I would do is I would say, listen, I've done this once. I would say, listen, terrible meal there. Can physically point out what's wrong with it. Like Gordon Ramsay. Like, what the fuck are you doing, big boy?
Hey. Yeah.
Hey, big boy, listen, yes, okay, fucking shit.
My favorite is when he goes the other way and he's almost disappointed in him, where he's like, wow. I mean, and you know something big's coming. It's never good, but carry on.
Well, what can I say, big boy? So yeah, I went. But here's the thing: I don't want anyone to recook my meal and send it back out, because I still think, like urban myth type thing, they will spit in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I don't want it coming back out, even if I ask for something to be heated up. I'm like, the chef's going to rub it in his taint or something, and it's a carbonara. You know what I mean? So I would get very worried about that. But I once we got a terrible meal, and I was thinking, and I said we took like 2 bites out of it each, and I said, listen, I'm more than happy to pay for this, but just to show you, like, mine was really greasy. The other one, it was terrible looking, and the girl was like, well, you could have said when you started your meal, and I was like, okay, now I'm not happy to pay for it.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not happy to pay for it. You've been rude whenever I'm doing you a courtesy, and we didn't pay for the meal. But she looked at us like we were criminals, and I didn't care, because I was like, fuck you, this food is shit. And this was a place that I went that I'm going back to for the first time next month, so it should be interesting.
Oh, and how long ago did the incident happen? We're going to call it the incident.
3 years.
So enough time has passed. I think there's been maybe there's a staff turnover, the waitresses and stuff. You know, you might have just an enjoyable experience. I will say that when we sent food back, it was very similar to the way you did it. We took like 1 or 2 bites and we're like, nah, this is bogging. We're happy enough just to get out of here.
And then the butlers made the chef sleep with the fishes. Your dad went up and gave him a kiss on both cheeks. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And your dad went,
then he pulled his trousers up. Hey, back in the game.
What about a mafia guy who doesn't know how to do it?
He gets him on the hole.
Go and give him the kiss of death or whatever, and he just goes up and just on the neck. It's really tender.
Strokes his...
Eskimo kiss. There's a sketch in that.
There is, yeah, the new mafia, or the mafia trainee, or the mafia work experience guy.
We'll figure the title. I mean,
We'll figure it out. Yeah. It's important. Yeah. It's there. The premise is there.
We need to start making sketches again. We need to start making just one-off type sketches again, because we can't. That is our job, so we can go out and do it now.
Yeah, I think that's a good show. We need to start just putting more stuff out there. I agree. Let's think of a few things and maybe do a few different fun
shoot something
ideas
tomorrow. You think of an idea and I'll film you doing it, and I'll think of an idea and you film me doing it.
A little bit soon. Let's think it out.
No, it's good. It's in the diary. Yeah, book it in. Hey man, book it in. Book it in.
Like, I gotta admire you've such enthusiasm whenever you come up with an idea, because it's like you immediately you don't ever like think, okay, what's the logistics? Do I need a location? Do I need like light, sound? You just go, yeah, we're doing it, and that's I like the attitude.
So I've only started to probably get more. There is truth to what you're saying, but I've only started to get more practical in the last like year or two, because before I would write like. I'd say to you about doing a sketch. I'd be like, listen, got this sketch idea. Can we film it? You go like, yes, when are you looking to film it? We'd get a day. And then you would go, hey man, what is the idea? And I go, listen, it's shot at a rave, right? We're going to shoot this at a rave. And basically I arrive in a Ferrari and then I get shot. And then there's a slow motion scene and we do a chase through Victoria Square. And then as time goes on, the more you realize, actually, that why don't we just get rid of all? Like, the number one thing is, I love thinking that I used to do this. People will do a sketch about, say, for example, a guy who gets told he's being sacked from a job. Say that's the sketch. But when you first start doing sketches, you will write in a bit and film a bit where the guy travels to go to his work to find out he's being sacked. And then as time goes on, you realize, like, what is this contributing to it? Like, you'll have a bit where the guy wakes up and all. He's like, oh, gotta go to work here, driving into work, getting out into work. And now you go, why don't we just start it when he's in work? When you first start doing sketches, you're like, we're going to need to film his birth. And then just a montage of his life.
Yeah. Can we film a bit where him and his mother initially conceive him, like in the bedroom, and then we follow her for 9 months?
We start with God creating the world, which he did. But we should do an alternate take of the Big Bang. So could we film that tomorrow? Could we do we're going to do a Big Bang reenactment?
Yeah, I enjoy always having to be like, not that I enjoy, but I always have to find myself in the situation where I have to talk you down from a big elaborate thing and make you think that it was your idea to talk me down. I'm like, mate, instead of Ferrari, how about, hear me out,
the car you drive.
Yeah. How about my Hyundai? And you go, yeah, that's perfect.
Can we just add that? Sorry to the, and I'm preempting. There will be people who send messages about this, so I'm preempting it. Can we just add that to the list of words you say wrong? And hey, I'm speaking as a guy who says a lot of words wrong, but can we just add the French car manufacturer that begins with P to that list?
Is it, how do you say it, Peugeot or Peugeot?
I think if you're French, it's Peugeot.
Peugeot.
But you're just saying Peugeot.
What am I saying?
Peugeot, who sounds like an Indian rapper.
Peugeot MC. Yeah.
Was going to make that joke about Punjabi MC. Didn't think you'd know the work of Punjabi MC, and now delighted that we both know the work of. Do you know Punjabi MC, or are you just saying MC because it's a rapper?
No. I know the dinga dinga dinga. Yeah. Big fan.
Cancelled. Imagine you got cancelled. You just do like a perfect rendition of the instrumental beat of that song, and it's like, hey man, sorry, you're done.
No, sure, I've been to India, so it's all good. I'm all about it.
Can you see yourself being back in India? Like, are you planning to have the Indian people been asking, like, listen, when this is all over, will you be getting back?
Yeah, they're going, where is he? Where is the young white god that we used to worship whenever he came to the Taj Mahal? I like, so before all this was kicking off, I got offered to go again and I turned it down. And So if I turned it down before all this, I'm definitely turning it down after all this.
Are you in the same boat as me with gigging at the minute? So in this episode, I'm kind of talking about, stand up not returning for a while, maybe, but we're just waiting to see what all these restrictions are. And actually, by the time this episode goes out, there might be, even though it was recorded the day before, there might be new news about it.
True.
Did you go from? I'd be interested to know. Did you go from what I did, which was feeling a bit shit that there was no gigs for so long, to doing the likes of those Limelight shows a couple of weeks ago? And that feeling of it's back. This is the start of it. It's back. It's not the same, but it's back, and then it's going to get better. And then kind of this week going, nah, it's going back to the way it was. Like, I actually, even in a way, feel worse now because it feels like we had a false start.
Yeah, I feel like I sort of had an outlook from the beginning where I was like, I knew a few things would come back, but then I also was real to realize that like there's going to be less gigs in general. So there is gigs, like Colin's got the club happening weekly with the Limelight, which is great, and there's people trying to book little things here and there, the likes of the Hatfield one that we did and all that sort of stuff. So there is little dribs and drabs, but you don't have the same. So there's not like a weekly open mic gig like the PAV happening, so you can't just drop into places like that. There's not an OMA gig happening. There's not a Brickworks up in Derry happening. There's just so much less happening. So even though there is, what I'm trying to get to really is that I sort of understood that for it to get back to the way it was beforehand, it's going to take, I don't know how long, could be a year, could be 2 years, could be even longer than that. But yeah, this is just where we're at the minute. And look, it's one of those things, I think, as comedians in the same country in Northern Ireland and in the South or whatever, we're all going to be fighting for spots a lot more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think you think the same as me, and that the thing we should be fighting is the Chinese.
Absolutely, I think. I hate their chicken curry. That's a lie. I a big fan. But I think, yeah.
So doesn't this just go to show? Speaking of chicken curry, that the food we call Chinese food, I think we've realized since the whole bat thing is not the Chinese food that they're eating over there, because no takeaways, even in the likes of Lurgan or Portadown or wherever.
Well,
we're doing a bad half and half. You know what I mean? So I think we've realised that we're being conned by any of the Chinese restaurants locally.
Yeah. China has a lot to answer for. We gotta get those guys cancelled. I think but I have you ever watched like videos of all those Chinese markets and seen all the food and stuff that's out there? No.
Yeah, I thought Nuts Corner was wild because they were selling 3 goldfish for £1, but. But these guys are taking it to a whole new level.
Yeah, you thought St. George's was crazy when they had donuts and fish in the same place. You're like, whoa.
I thought St. George's was crazy because I could get a caricature done and free range fudge and within 5 feet of each
very enjoyable.
Yeah. Can I just say, once I was in St. George's Market and was buying just a single fish to eat for my dinner, and I handed the guy, remember back in the day there used to be coins? Do you remember coins? I handed the guy over some coins to pay with. That makes me sound like I'm in like Lord of the Rings. Some coins, you take coins, my man. And he gave me my change back, and I fumbled it and dropped it all over one fish, like about 6.50 and 50p's and 20p's over a cod. And he just looked at me and went, you know, like most people will go, oh, listen, mate, even though it was my fault, most butchers or whatever or fishmongers would be like, oh, sorry about that, mate, listen, my fault and all, cheers, and they would throw that fish in the thing. The guy just looked at me and went, oh, for fuck's sake, mate. And then he picked all the money off the fish, handed it back to me, and then just continued about his business. So somebody that night got a cod seasoned with copper. So somebody got the cod seasoned with the change from a tenner.
Not sweet. I mean, what does he expect? Like, accidents happen. Like, I like how he just looked at you and had so much rage.
So fucked off of me. I mean,
I enjoyed it.
It all fell over just one fish. But yeah, so
We were talking about the Chinese markets.
I've seen a little bit of footage, but I'm not a. You know the way people would send those and be like, "Here, can you? Yeah, this stuff's sick and all. Can you believe this? Look at what they're eating." I don't watch it. If you prefix a video to me as, "Look at this," and all, and like, "Oh, you're this," I then don't watch it. Like I
I'm
spent
the same.
an hour watching a video last night of a guy who had a fuck, I don't even know what it's called, but it's a bit of metal, something hydraulic press or something. And
that squishes items.
I spent an hour watching that because that's enjoyable.
YouTube channels. What fun items was he squashing?
He was doing like chocolate. He was doing sweets. He was doing watermelons.
I like that.
And hopefully in the next while we can put COVID into that and squish it.
Very good, very good. Yeah, enjoyable. There's a YouTube channel. I agree. By the way, see when people send a WhatsApp thing and it looks really gross or really dirty or icky, I don't touch it. You know what I mean?
Well, you look for the first couple of comments that other people put on it, and if it's dirty bastard, fucking stinking mate, LOL, delete that. Then that's when I leave the group.
Yeah, delete. That's the real. That's the nail in the coffin. So it is.
The worst one I ever saw was and I full disclosure, I didn't see the thing that the video was about because once it started, I knew what was going to happen and I got out just in time. My mate sent this thing in of there's just like a guy lying in a bed.
No.
This is from like maybe the 80s or the early 90s. And he's lying down on his front and a lady enters the room and she has a wooden leg. She has like a stump wooden leg, but like regular height. And he says something to the effect of, "What are you going to do with that?" And then boom, that's me out. Exit group, straight on the phone. 111, is that the non-emergency police call? And I was like, "Listen, I got someone you need to speak to." And that guy that sent me that is doing 75 years now in HMP McGalbury.
Yeah, and rightly so. The best ones are whenever I like, although you don't like to see it because it's in your area or whatever, but whenever Paddy McDonald will send just all the local WhatsApp videos of people in Northern Ireland, those are just gold. They're, for us, for material, there's nothing funnier than just smicks fighting.
When a video is prefixed with like Belfast has gone to the dogs.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
Up. A
guy just getting his bollocks kicked in on a mattress just in the middle of the Dublin Road. I mean, those videos are. You kind of watch that comforted by the fact that you're not one of the guys in the video.
Yeah, because we could be any more. Or if there's a video that's like with a local bouncer in it, you know it's going to be a good time.
You know that, like, you're watching those videos and you're like, "Oh, that bouncer owned that guy," but at the same time, you're like, you know, he is also being sly himself.
Oh yeah. Have you ever had any sly bouncer experiences?
Yeah, well, not too bad, but there was a guy in one of my locals back in the day, there, and still is, I guess, even though I don't live in Hollywood anymore. But
Rangers supporters club, yeah.
Yeah, there was a no, don't be stupid. Linfield Supporters Club.
Okay.
There was a bouncer who was just a real dick to fellas. So, like, if a group of women came to the door, he was like, and by the way, he's like a creepy guy, so he was like flirting with them and all, and like ushering them in and walking them to a table and stuff. But when fellas would come down, like me and my mates, he would just try and make a dick out of you, basically. And he used to say to my mates, if it was him on the door, I was like, for fuck's sake, you have to like almost play with him to get it. Not his cock, but like you have to play with him to get in. And he used to be like, sing us a wee song. And I remember one of my mates and a guy was about to do it, and I was like, we'll go somewhere else. And the guy's like, you can't take it. No, I'm only messing. Fucking ways go. But I was like, nah, that guy I just hate that kind of thing. But like 9 out of 10 doormen are some of the soundest people you'll meet. Like, they can get a bad rap, but like they put up with a serious amount of shit. And most doormen are 100%.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like the most rewarding job in the world, like to have to deal with the general public of Belfast who are all half cut. Like,
yeah, like you look at guys like Big Simon, you're almost being like, how are you not just knocking people out for no reason, just walking about being like, not even asking people anything, just getting so annoyed. And some of the guys like him are just the nicest guys. And you're like, I don't know how you do this being such a nice person.
Yeah, yeah. You're almost wanting to take him away from it. You're like, Simon, you're too good for this world. Like, come on, we get you something nice. You know what I mean? Let's get you a nice setup somewhere.
But no, well, I mean, yeah, I'd say there's just people who just enjoy it, just really enjoy that thing. Like,
My dad loved it. Like, my dad bounced until he's retired this year from bouncing, and he's turning 50 next year. So like he did it the right old age, and like we basically had to say to him, stop, you're 49, stop, you don't need to be a bouncer anymore. But he loved it for like the social aspect of just.
But that's the same with
yeah.
like Sam in there. People who like don't need to do it, but just do it, just really enjoy it. Would your dad have ever carried it in, like if he was working late or whatever and he was a bit tired with his other job, would he have ever like continued the bouncing into the house? Like, would you have gone down for breakfast in the morning? Would he have like put his hand up and said like, whoa, where do you think you're headed? You know, would that have happened?
Yeah, he's like, sort of, not today, mate, I'm having breakfast. Like, you have to wait outside until it's not as full in here to have breakfast. And I'd be like, fuck's sake, all right, you know what I mean?
Your mum's at the table inside, and you're like, no, I know people inside now.
Yeah.
He's like,
and he's like, you don't know. No, she's not saying anything. Yeah.
Your dad's like, sorry, mate, it's 1 in, 1 out for the kid. You have to wait till she finishes her brown flakes, and then you...
Yeah. But no, he's quite a chilled guy for the most part. Like, fair enough, he has his moments, but when he came home, he was never like, he would never talk about it or anything, or he'd never be like, oh yeah, it was a nightmare or whatever. Like, if anything happened, he would just forget about it because it's just sort of part of the job.
Like a war veteran.
Yeah, like a samurai. Like, he was like one of those.
You know, he's seen stuff, but he doesn't want to tell you about it.
Yeah. He was yeah, he was a man of honor in that way. So he was when he did the door, but he also just enjoyed getting to have a wee sly pint after in the bar when no one else was in. I think that's why he did it, to be fair.
I thought you were going to say he loved just getting a wee sly boot in.
He claims they have never had to put his hands on anyone, but
where did he bounce?
In famous establishments such as, I'm trying to remember what it used to be called. It's called the Wolf and Whistle now, but when he bounced in it, it wasn't called that.
So he's up in the West,
all places in West Belfast. All over the West. The Rock, the infamous Rock, the McInnies.
And he never had the.
So he said. So he said. Now, did he come home covered in blood one night? Yeah, but I don't know what that was about.
To be fair, your dad is like 6'8", and is what could be described as like a big guy. So I'd say
a unit.
Maybe he didn't have to ever do it. Maybe he just had to look at people and go, "Do you want me to come and introduce myself to you?" And people are like, "I'm good. I'll behave."
What's funny about that though is like they see him as like this intimidating guy, and then I see him like walk about it here, and if he drops like something on the ground, he's like, oh, he's like he can barely, he has the worst back issues. Like, if you were to just push him over, he'd be like a wee tortoise, just like you know, like fucking. So like people at the bar like seeing him like fuck. Yeah, just pranks on my dad's back. Yeah, be a real hit. The just hydraulic press his back, just to get the discs the all line. But he's fucking
hydraulic press on retired bouncer's back. You have to watch this. The press breaks.
Just wraps around him. But yeah, like fucking, he is the absolute, like, he's a grafter. Like, but the thing about him is he doesn't have the concept of like we would be like, oh, if you're feeling like bad in your back, stretch it out, foam roll it, do a bit of yoga. No. He's all like, no, what you need to do is lift more weights. And it's like, all right, okay.
My dad would be the same, in that they're just guys of a certain vintage, and like my dad was always told, if you had like a problem with like your back or some of your muscles or whatever, you go down to the train tracks and you would just spread yourself across and just wait, and a train going Bangor direction would iron that out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Lost a lot of friends to that, but you know, some people say it worked.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever put coins in train tracks?
No, because I'm not Huckleberry Finn, man.
Why did I have my childhood in 1837?
No, because I wasn't Alexander Hamilton, for fuck's sake.
SHANETOPD.
Oh, I actually enjoyed that.
What do you boys want to do today? Taking some coins down to the railroad. I can't recommend it enough. I
could see you down in like a wee river with a wee fishing string attached to your toe, and you're just like that, just whistling.
When I left home for work, whenever I was 10, I just had a wooden pole with a
little bag,
tablecloth around it.
Funny.
Some of my other childhood hobbies were churning butter was a good one. I like to do that, and just hopping in a tin drum of milk.
Yeah, no. I didn't do it.
You and me are going down to Great Victoria Street Station tomorrow with 50p. We're gonna have a time of it.
No, I'd played football.
You watched people play football.
Oh man, it was so like I remember whenever in primary school, I would always get picked last, and rightly so.
That's got a bit grim.
Yeah. And no, I'm just remember. Whenever you said watch people play football, they would always put me in nets, and that was their way of saying, "Don't you play in nets?" But then I actually got really good at nets, and then they were like, "Oh shit!" But then here's what happened, and this is all at the age of 7 years old in my Gaelic football team at St. Kevin's Primary School. 7 years old, they all told. Yeah. They all told me I was good at nets. I was like, "Oh, class." Then what happened was we started to play competitive games against other kids' schools. And I started to buckle under pressure. I started going, at 7 years old, I don't know how to catch a ball. I'm not good. Like, stuff like I wasn't built for the mental aspect of the sport at that age.
I love that. Like your teacher being like, listen, this is a big moment. This 4-a-side game on a 12 by 12 foot pitch.
With no one watching.
Aaron, if you fuck this up, your UCAS form's going to reflect it.
Oh fucking hell, yeah, just really big flashbacks to that now.
Would you like to go back to St. Kevin's Primary? Maybe we make a video out of it and you redeem yourself. we get some of the 7-year-olds to hit penalties at you. Would you be up for it?
Yeah, that would be really funny, although it's a completely they knocked down the school after I left.
Just to get rid of the shame.
They were like, well, we'll sterilize this place, and they went, nah, there's no cleaning it.
I didn't really go to school where I was from. My school was the Great Plains. Chasing buffalo, trout.
Turn freedom. I could see Huckleberry Toad being a real nice series that I would watch.
Most people nowadays just had to battle like anxiety when they went to school. I had to battle Native Americans.
Oh fucking hell! Yeah, I like.
What have you got for lunch? Oh fuck's sake, corn again.
Or as you call it, maize. Fuck's sake. Oh yeah, I like the idea of you reminiscing about your childhood, like one of those. It was nothing like that.
My Thornton.
Oh, I like that. Very painting fences. That was you at school.
That's a lot of fun. That is a lot of fun.
I'm sensing a lot of photoshops happening tonight.
Listen, what are you having for? First of all, can we film a sketch tomorrow? You in? You busy?
If we've got a sketch to write, yeah,
I've got a
I
sketch.
can do it.
I've got a sketch.
Okay.
And secondly, what are you having for your dinner?
Sorry, yeah, for dinner I'm having my mother is up there right now. In fact, she's currently sort of slaving over the kitchen. She's making a spaghetti bolognese.
Ooh.
Because we're the
For
Italian
the
mafia
family,
yeah.
Mama in the kitchen making up a bolognese for me and the guys, eh? Emma, how you
it's
get this so
Butler.
good?
That's yeah. I go up and taste and go, that's a spicy meatball. That's like that. Just like that, yeah. Bellissima.
But you said the West Belfast mafia. You're like, we're having that's a spicy meatball, Alex, huh? You have meatballs with a side of garlic loaf. You have a garlic nutty crust.
And Parmesan has a fat over it.
That's enjoyable.
So yeah, that's
the West Belfast Italian family is going to be a sketch, and we're filming it tomorrow.
Along with Huckleberry Todd.
Shane, what did you graduate with?
Hey,
bow and arrow.
A big bale of hay.
Oh man, you got to have your dinner, and I've got to go and write a sketch to tell you for tomorrow.
Yeah. Enjoyable, bro.
Listen, you're on all social media. It's just Aaron
Butler online. Aaron Butler online. Get me everywhere, bro.
Simple as that. Listen, I got to thank you for that. Really enjoyable. We'll take out.
Yeah.
People will go, did you delete a bit there? And they'll think it was something massive and scandalous, but it was just very, very monotonous. And maybe next week I'll explain why we had to delete it. But there you go. That's just one of those things. Cheers for coming on the pod, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers to Aaron for that. Sippers, let me really quickly interrupt the podcast before my interview with Cahir. We have a sponsor. We have a phenomenal sponsor. It's Horny Teas. Horny Teas. Now, you like me, you drink tea. You've been drinking tea for years, but you're ready to take your tea drinking game to the next level. Horny Teas don't just make fine teas and about 6 million different varieties. They do hemp teas. They do CBD teas. All right, and there was too many letters there, but I still managed to say it. Go to harney.com, HARNEY. The link is in the description of this podcast, or the hempdivision.com, which sounds like a Joy Division tribute band, but isn't. It's just a way to get great tea. Check out the website, harney.com, and you get 20% off all products with the code teawithme20. That's teawithme20. Cheers to Horny Teas for sponsoring the podcast. On with the interview with Cahir. Cahir, can you tell me just a little bit to kick us off about your involvement with the music industry?
So I play in a band based in Belfast called New Pagans. I also work as a guitar tech, backline tech for an artist called Frank Turner. Yeah. I sort of tour the world with him a lot, mostly. You know what I mean? That's my bread and butter, essentially. And so since lockdown, I've just been stuck in this dungeon in Belfast.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, there's worse dungeons to be stuck in because that is a fantastic lighting fixture behind you.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Is that a
really
chandelier?
Good. I think it's a mini chandelier. You know, just keeping it real.
I keep waiting for Delboy and Albert to drop it.
the music industry knows how to look after you. Many chandeliers. You move up to the bigger ones. Then
that's it. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about. I come from a comedy background. But when people talk about the arts, comedy is kind of one of the last things you think of. And I've only had conversations with comedians. So from more of a music side of things, I was wondering if our experiences would be the same of lockdown, of work as such. So what was kind of a typical week for you before lockdown happened?
Well, so before lockdown, I was on tour. So we get pulled. I was on tour with Frank Turner in the UK, and I was pulled off that tour when the rules came in, and there was a few different bands, Blossoms and that, were out on the road as well, and everyone was kind of going, should we stop now? Do we stop? What's going on? Is this crazy? So, and then we just decided to pull it for public health, safety, and all that stuff, and our own safety as well, I suppose. But usually I would go on tour for like a month, and then I would come home for like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then I'll go on tour for another month or two, and then come home for like a month. You know what I mean? So my life was pretty much on the road, and then I've got 2 small children as well. So I try and spend as much time with them as possible. But that essentially was my main source of income.
Yep.
Was as a guitar tech and a touring musician as well. Sometimes I would do session work as a player as well.
So at the start of lockdown, at the start of sort of shows being cancelled, maybe we take it from shows being cancelled, and the idea of sort of no live entertainment. I was really like not optimistic at the start of that, but we've just had a baby ourselves, and I was like, this might not last for that long. It's a good chance to be at home a bit more, and I'm sure it's going to be fine in like a couple of months. My attitude towards it now, I almost had like a false start because I got to do shows. I got to do a run of shows a couple of weeks ago in the Limelight, and I felt like business as usual.
Yeah,
everything was socially distanced, but it just felt like it's back and it's coming back. And now it feels like it's not coming back anytime soon. And also our industry has kind of been one of the hardest to be totally fucked.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I thought exactly the same as you. I thought I was optimistic. I thought, they'll probably get a few summer festivals, and they'll get this under control. They lock down for 3 months. I know it's going to be hard, but if we stick to it, it could work. And then it just stretched on, and then things started reopening, but not the same. And I was like, okay, when's the music industry going to open? I was, very aware that we were one of the first to shut down. We'll be one of the last to open. You know what I mean? Because of the nature of the beast. But I thought, well, maybe by the end of the year. But now it's looking like we're going into another lockdown. And I know Frank has been out doing shows because he's like obsessed with playing, and he loves it. So he's been trying to do whatever he can, socially distant shows and bigger venues. But it's been difficult to bring all of his crew out, and he's been really good. He did some fundraisers for his crew, online.
Oh, great, yeah,
which has been amazing to sort of help us, because everyone's self-employed essentially in the crew. You know what I mean? And the government haven't been the best at helping out, and that small sort of helping hand that they gave has now been taken away again. So we're kind of on our own. There's nothing there for the music industry, no plan. They have everything else sorted, but we're kind of being left in the lurch a wee bit. So, I mean, but he's been trying those socially distant shows, and he's felt that they were working. But now with these new rules, he's had to pull 2 shows next week, for instance. And so that's the work drying up again. And
it's the day-to-day changes of stuff I think people are finding really tough, yourselves, and like I say finding it tough, like I get that there's like I assume music is your dream job, like comedy is my dream job, so we're so lucky that we have got to do that for however long we've done it, and we still will be able to do it, and I know there's people who are affected like a lot worse, but it's just that kind of thing of
it's the uncertainty, isn't it?
It's the uncertainty, and it's the feeling like we're not. It feels like what we do is being put at kind of the bottom of the list. In terms of this idea, the most recent thing I've heard of, you can still maybe do shows, but no amplification, even on a voice.
Yeah.
What's the logic in that, though?
I don't get it. I mean, a really good friend of mine, Alan, he plays in our band actually, but his bread and butter is like playing cover shows in bars. You know what I mean? And so now they've pulled no live music in a bar, only background music. I mean, maybe they think that's that it's going to get people up dancing. And everybody, and then the social distancing goes out the window, and no harm to Alan, but he's not that exciting. I wouldn't want to get up and dance. It's not. That's not the point. The point is to sort of give him a job, make sure that he still has and I don't see any reason behind it. I get the social distancing, and I get it. And people love gigs. It's a big part of our economy here in Northern Ireland, and
Massive.
even helping towards the peace process over the years. I mean, the entertainment industry has been a huge part of that, and I just feel that once again we get cast to the side. They're just musicians. They eat sandwiches and they sleep in late. It's like what kind of stereotype do they have in their mind that about us?
How have you kind of been practically affected by it? Like, are you kind of just like at home now, just seeing what happens, just waiting for something to happen, or have you been able to kind of turn your hand to other things to stay busy?
Well, the thing is, I'm actually, I've done my best to try and sort of switch over. So I'm kind of trying to break into the writing side and production side of things. And I've applied for a grant from the the Arts Council to try and help me get some equipment in order to pull that side of things together. But with the government withholding the 33 million that was to come to the arts, which is insane, and I just feel that no one's really talking about this. I'm like, why is Conor Murphy holding on to this? Where is it? At the very worst, it's villainy, and at the very least, it's incompetence. You know what I mean?
Cahir, how dare you? Our politicians have been exemplary up until this point. So if we can afford them one misstep, I'm sure that money has just...
I want the money, Conor. I want the money.
Yeah, I want all of it, and then I'll sort people
out. I want all of it. I'll sort people out. I'm a good conduit for your money.
But that is typical of the way that this industry feels treated. Is there is this money set aside, which brilliant, and people are really, really, really going to need that. But they're like, oh, we're here. We
just need to check.
Them, not going to give you it, but it's processing, and you're like, what are you talking about? It's in cash, installment. Just start dishing it out.
It's like Father Ted. It's just resting in my account.
Yeah,
it's fine. I'm going to get there eventually.
What's the official line on that? What is the official line on that grant not being distributed?
Apparently, he is making sure that all areas are covered, and that I think he's going to announce something today. He said he would come out and say something today, but I mean, it's fine about other areas because it is designated for the arts. That's the area it's supposed to go into. It's not for other areas, and like, it's not a lot of money when you take into consideration, all the venues, the galleries, the workers. It's not a lot of money to go around. Yeah. And, for him to sort of maybe consider, and I'm not saying he is, but consider siphoning some of that money out to other areas is insane.
It's insane, but also I think the logical thing would be to do when we get the 33 million, should we just put it into one big show?
I was thinking a huge party.
You bring the lights.
I'll bring the chandelier and the microphone. Yeah.
I mean, that is villainy is not a bad way to describe it. I mean, what's the general feeling? The general feeling amongst stand-ups is there's not that many stand-up comedians in Northern Ireland that are full-time. In fact, there's maybe like 5 of us. And in my sort of age group, the majority of guys that I'm friends with would just do stand-up as a hobby that they're really into. Yeah. We've shared experiences, the guys who are full-time, of having to pull tours and all that kind of thing. But what is so basically, because stand-up is growing as a scene, it's not that established yet, so most people who do it have jobs that they can rely on and that kind of thing. But I'd say in music there is a lot more people who, like yourself, are just full-time music, whether it's performing, whether it's backstage, organization, something like that. So if you're in like WhatsApp groups or whatever with other musicians, or you're talking, what is the general feeling at the minute?
Well, I think it's just, like I said before, it's uncertainty. There's no plan in place for our industry. No one talks about it. The government sort of skip over it. It's just like, so we're like, what about us? when can we do shows? So, I mean, I know bands like Ash and, you know, even ourselves and Frank Turner and stuff. Everyone's putting dates in the diary, and they're announcing shows. And then a month later, oh, cancel those shows because it looks like nothing's happening. So, and I think that's the way the industry kind of has to be. We have to be ready to just sort of bounce back in whenever the time's right, whenever that'll be, you know. There's just no clear path and there's no clear help. So, I mean, there's an entire industry of people, trained professionals who are, like I say, all self-employed, who have absolutely no way of making money. You know what I mean? Their bread and butter is touring, you know, doing lights, doing live sound, you know, working on the stages, doing the crewing at venues. And these people are left in the lurch. We have no way to earn money. I personally have to move out of my flat because it's either that or start eating into my savings that I'm trying to save to buy a house for my family. And I'm just like, I can't do that. So I've got to like move on with my in-laws for a period of time until I get back on my feet. And that's the harsh reality of where I'm at. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, really? Is it coming to this? And then these people withholding our money it's not a lot of money, but it helps us just get through this nightmare. I mean, it's like, that's kind of where we're at. And most of my musician friends are in the same boat, if not worse. You know what I mean? So,
but I think you hit the nail on the head. Everybody just wants to be able to go back to work. Nobody. I mean, grants and stuff are brilliant, and I get that. Like, the people need grants and the venues need grants. Mm-hmm. But besides that, people just want to be able to go and do the job for the wage they were doing it at, or even for any, you know, it's just being able to perform again. You perform music. I mean, if there was a free show in a nice venue tomorrow night,
I'd be there.
In Derry or Dublin, I'd walk to it.
Oh, totally,
I just want to be able to do the thing that I do, and that uncertainty. I mean, for people's mental health and everything else, that is. I mean, your situation of having to move out of a flat. I mean, if you knew, for example, okay, this is the date where we're going to phase this back in or that, or there's going to be an announcement on this, it's truly terrible. I mean, it really is. Terrible.
It's so nuts that you know, our industry more so than any other has just been sort of cast to one side. Yeah, and they're like, they always look after themselves anyway, kind of thing. You know, they know. We don't need to worry about them. No, you do, because this is never. I mean, I've been in music for 20 years in some capacity, you know, and I've never thought for 1 minute that it wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, it's always going to be there.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, if the industry in a way shuts down for a long time with the uncertainty, everyone, including myself, yourself, we're going to have to go and do different things. But there's no guarantee that we're not just going to magically come back to those jobs. A lot of people might. So, you know, it's an industry that I think is taken for granted by the likes of politicians, in that, oh, listen, in 6 months we'll start it up again. You'll all be back to work. No, we'll be working in a million different jobs. You know. Exactly.
So that's what I'm trying to do at the minute. Is I'm like, right, what else can I do now? You know, I've dedicated my life to one sort of industry, and I'm like, right, what else how can I apply my skill set, which is drinking, playing guitar? how can I apply that to something else? I know, maybe telemarketing or something. I could phone people up and annoy them. You know,
I think we're all thinking. Once you kind of go all in something like this, you go, this is what I'm going to do. So I will make this work and do this for life somehow. I'll do this for life. Yeah. And it's not. There's no thing of, you know, oh, I don't want to have to go and do something else. It's not that. It's just this is what we do. This is our chosen industry, and this is our profession. And also, it's a profession that makes people feel good. It's a profession that people really get something out of. You know, whether it's music or comedy. Well, a night out to go and see music. Like, I haven't seen a music gig since lockdown, and I think of the feeling of it. I'm like, God, imagine, like when a gig gets announced for next year, I'm like, oh, imagine.
Same here. I'm like sort of going, oh, cool, that might happen. Oh, brilliant, you know. And then I'm like, when can we start playing again? When can we? And then I'm just thinking about the rush of every band is going to hit the roads. There's going to be lots of gigs.
Yeah.
And so it's like an entire clusterfuck. Just sitting going, we're going to get lost in the, because everybody's going to be touring. Everyone's going to want back on the road. So it's going to take a while for our industry to get back on its feet. I'm sure you're the same with every comedian's going to want to hit the road. They're going to want to get out there and get in the bars and get in the clubs.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, where do I fit into that? You know what I mean? So it's not just a matter of that starting up again. It's going to take a while for that ball to start rolling again and everybody sort of find their place like before.
Yeah.
And get out there and earn money and do shows. So I feel like it's definitely more precarious than we think. You know what I mean?
And I think we all have to kind of play a part. And look, I'm someone who's never been I'm say like a noble cause, for example. I'm totally guilty of sitting back and being like, hopefully this works out. Like that. Yeah. That has honestly been my, I'm not like a guy who like punches the air and I'm like, listen, let me take to the streets. I'm a guy of like, let me stay in the house and let me watch people online take to the streets, and hopefully this benefits me in some way.
I'm like, I'm the same. My wife always gives me grief because I'm like the ultimate armchair warrior. I'm like,
that's me.
Why is nobody doing anything about this? What the?
That's me.
Like,
but now I think now it's time to. It is something where I'm like, no, what can be done? Let's go and do it. And getting involved with a cause like we make events, just feels like the very least like I can do and the other people can do. It's
everything helps. That's the thing, and I think a lot of people too, just the general public. I mean, Boris Johnson was talking about, that we're going to have to shut down the sports industry, and I know it's the backbone of the country, and it's why people love going there. We're going to put a plan together for that. I'm like, wait a minute, football players get paid hundreds of thousands a week. They're fine. What about the music industry? And what about comedy and music and the arts and visual arts and theater and all the people that work there? There has been no plan at all, really. There's they banted about some money, and Joss Stone came on and made a nightmare of herself, going on about, isn't that great? And that went to one portion, and that was, theaters and the elite sort of entertainment industry, and the rest of us just get nothing.
But whenever I sort of started to look at what We Make Events were doing and seeing how I could help with that, you're hearing about people behind the scenes, front of house people, engineers, and I think there is in this game there is a thing of people only think that it's performers that make show. The only people involved with shows are like performers, and that's kind of it. But they don't realize like what goes into the show, and there may be the difference between you really enjoying a night and not enjoying it. Maybe the sound engineer that night, he might have done something that makes it sound brilliant in that venue.
Exactly.
And you say, I got to go back. And that was because the gig was okay, but maybe it's because the environment that these people created was
exactly
want to come back. So it's so many people behind performers,
Oh, totally. The performers are the center stage. That's who people are coming to see. But they expect a level of production that, makes them go, wow, look at that light show. It was unbelievable. It sounded amazing. It looked great. Everything sort of went swiftly and smoothly on stage. Guitar techs are on taking away instruments, stringing, you know what I mean? Everything works together as one sort of living thing, and that's what makes the show. It's not just one person standing there, what I mean? There's hundreds of people that work around it. It's the crew that load the gear and make sure everyone's safe. It's the security people.
Oh yeah.
Blah blah blah. List goes on and on and on, and people sort of go, you're right. There's a lot of people that work.
Yeah, because I show up. I mean, if I'm on stage at 8, I'll show up at maybe like 7:15. Maybe do the quickest sound check. Sometimes don't sound check. Sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes the venue like it's fine. So I just walk in and then do the show. But like you say, the whole venue has been set up from top to bottom by people. When you leave, there's going to be people in there for hours after, and it's all about bringing you this experience of a night out at a show, which is one thing that we all definitely miss. So so I'll post the link in the description for We Make Events, but it's a very worthwhile thing to help an industry that is getting no help from elected representatives at the minute. And just start dishing the dough out. That's really all.
That's all I
want.
I just want. Yeah. I'm in it just for the money. You see, I'm not in it for anything else. I just want
same. And I want Conor Murphy to get like a bus and get those like cash guns.
Yeah.
I want him to just make it rain.
Just make it rain. I have a chandelier to upgrade. You know what I mean? And so. Where's the money?
I don't even have one, so I need to get one.
You need to get one. I'm surprised. Frankly, I'm disappointed, Shane, because Chandelier Club.
I know. Chandelier Club, name of this week's episode. Cahir, cheers for coming on, chatting to me.
No worries.
It's great to get a perspective of the music industry, which I probably don't have because I just have 4 comedian friends, and that's my outlook on the whole arts.
That's a good outlook, though. I like comedian friends. It's good.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Cahir. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Take it easy.